Greetings YouTubers, and welcome to another WIS technology tutorial. In today's topic I'll be talking about planning a budget using tools in Google Apps. If any of you ever planned a budget before, and I can't say I have, but I can imagine it can only be quite difficult. So I've thought about some of the tools that are out there and in a sense repurposed some of the existing Google scripts to accommodate this workflow of budget building. So you're looking in here at my Google Drive. I have a folder called Budget Planner, and within that folder I have another subfolder. It's called Department Budgets, and what will eventually live here are the individual budgets per department, or the budget proposals, so to speak. The next document is a spreadsheet called the Budget Planner Master. So this, in a sense, just aggregates all of the data from all of the spreadsheets into one master spreadsheet. Below that is the Budget Planner Template. This document is actually copied and shared to all of the subject coordinators who are in charge of planning the budgets for the year or for the following year. And then the last spreadsheet is essentially a roster of anyone who will be submitting a budget into this folder. So my plan is essentially to use Doctopus along with some spreadsheets and the import range function to streamline the process of budget making. So let's begin by talking first about the Budget Planner template document. This is something I just simply created very quickly, and it's intended to go to every department. They would replace cell E1, obviously, with their own department. And then there's just a simple formula going down about 30 rows in column F, which is basically creating a subtotal. So this is essentially, it's taking from cell, like for example C3 and D3, multiplying it to give me the total right here. And then this is just a formula summing column F. So this is going to go out to every department. And now I'm going to talk about how that's going to get out to them. And that's where the subject coordinator roster comes into play. So here I have a simulated roster. These are my department heads. I've already installed Doctopus, but I'm actually going to go through the setting up and the sharing basics of using this. The reason I'm distributing this via Doctopus is so that I maintain ownership of the document. If I just had my department chairs make a copy of a viewable spreadsheet, what would happen is they would have ownership of the document, and I wouldn't be able to interact with it in the way that I need to make this budget planning system work. So I'll be distributing the template via Doctopus to the department heads. So let's go ahead and do that. So step one is just to set up the sharing basics. And what I want to do is I'm going to send that same template to every department, okay? And in terms of this whole class level, well, I don't want any other department seeing anyone else's budget, so I'm going to leave this with no access. And I want the department chair to be able to edit it, obviously. So I'm going to leave this as allow edit. And if I wanted to give some other people access to editing the document as well, I could include their email addresses here, and they would have editing rights to all of the spreadsheets in here as well. And I can just make sure these make sense in terms of the various columns that are going to be used. Or this is the sheet where the data is contained. And then, of course, this is the column containing the email address. And then this one, column containing excused designation. Well, this could be serve multi-purposes. For example, if if I had like several different templates, I could actually differentiate which template goes to which department. So say I wanted a template that included historical data per department. Well, then I would have a separate template per department, and I would then push out that template to that particular department. But anyway, I'm just going to give everyone the same document for this example, and I'll save the settings. Okay, now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to run step 2, and I'm going to choose which document to push out. Typically that screen comes up right after you run step 1 if you've just installed Doctopus. But since I'm going back to this, I'll probably have to go toggle back and forth between the menu and this window here. So I'm going to go ahead and look for the template file, and here I've named it the Budget Planner template, and I'm going to save the settings. Let's go up to step 3. This is where I'm deciding where those budget planning documents should land. And because I've created that folder, which I talked about previously, I'm going to make sure that those documents are put into the right folder. So let's just say we'll go budget planner. There should be a folder in here. I think it's under submitted. Where is it? What did I call it? Department. Oh yeah. So in step 3, we decide where we're going to put the budget proposals that have been submitted by each department. So I'm going to go ahead and locate the folder which I want them to go into. So, and I've called it Department Budgets. Okay. So that's where all of the individual budgets are going to land. Now the really nice thing is I can control how these things are named. So I can take, for example, I can call it the budget for $department. This little $department thing is basically a short little code that will look at the spreadsheet and basically pull out the actual name of the department. So if this was the English budget, this would say budget for English by, and then it would be the name of the subject coordinator. So in this case here, in my fictional example, John Adams would be listed here. So the name of the file would be Budget for English by John Adams. And I'm going to go ahead and notify John Adams right away that I'm sharing this template document with him. And I can share it with his email address simply by putting $email. And again, this will populate this field with the email address of all of the department heads that are listed here in column B. And then I can give the email a subject line. So budget planning spreadsheet, that's what I'll call it. And then I can send a personalized email to the subject coordinator or department head, whoever is managing the budget. So this could be, Dear John Adams, I am testing an idea to make the budgeting process easier and more transparent. All right, sincerely, Richard. I'm going to save those settings. Okay, so now I get a preview of what's going out to my subject coordinators, and I'm happy with it. I'm going to run the copy and share. Depending on how long your budget roster is, this could take a little bit of time, but it's well worth the wait when you see the final result. Okay, so it's confirming that all documents were successfully shared. And please explore the Doctopus menu for grading and feedback options. As you can see, the script was really intended for teachers and students, but I'm kind of repurposing it for managing a budget. So administrators can make use of this script as well. So let's go ahead and see what happens. So these are the template documents, links to them anyway. And it's added some columns and categories to my spreadsheet, which is kind of nice. The file key. We're going to need this actually when it comes time to aggregating all of the spreadsheet data into one spreadsheet. And then what's nice about this is if I decided that all of these budgets are good and they're approved, I could actually write in my feedback here, go back to the Doctopus menu, and I could then say send personalized emails to students. Well, this wouldn't be sending emails to students, but this would be sending feedback. Basically, anything written here would go into an email message to the department head saying that your budget was approved or not. So, and the other nice thing is I can, at any given time, choose this embargo for grading option, which basically will not allow department heads to modify their budget after a certain point. So once it's been established, I can then revoke their editing rights and maintain control over the document. All right, so that's great. Let's look into that department budget folder that I talked about at the beginning. Here it is. It's in my budget planner folder. You'll notice now that what was empty before now has these documents ready for work with these department heads. And just to kind of confirm, notice that the only person that has access to these is the department head, and then, of course, me. Well, I've actually shared this folder with several other people as I've been trying to demonstrate how this could be useful. So that's why there's other people in here. But normally it would just be the owner and then the department head. Okay, so what is interesting here is we can go in and start adding some things to this. So say this is the science budget. I suppose we can go into the so we're going to rename this with science. Okay. And now we need to add an item here. So let's say we need supplies. So what kind of supplies? Well, maybe a thermometer. And we maybe need 10 of these, and let's say they are, I don't know how much thermometers cost, but let's say they're $15 a piece. Notice right away that it's doing my calculation automatically. It's added the grand total, so it's $150. I'm noticing now I made a mistake in my subtotal document, which I should have defined the format as being currency, but the math is still right. But I guess I could have added a dollar sign in here, simply going to format number, and I can change that to currency, so that way anything in that column will show up as money. All right, and let's just add one more item. So let's get some more supplies. And we'll say we're getting some test tubes, and we're going to buy them in bulk. Let's say we're getting like 75 of them, and let's say there are 75 test tubes. I don't know what they cost per test tube, but let's just say they are 50 cents. All right. Oh, that's another mistake. It rounded up on me. So this, excuse me while I fix this. There we go. So yeah, it's important to test this all out before you send it, because things can happen and you can get wrong numbers plugged in here. So I suppose I should change this one to currency, and then this one here as well. Okay. Much better. All right. So my grand total has also adjusted. So it's summed $150 and $37.50 to give my grand total. Now, how does this relate to the Budget Planner Master? Now notice here I have this all set up, ready to go. Although there's no data in here because I don't have anything to populate it with. Well, you notice here at the top, in cell A1, I've added a formula called import range, all right? Or it's a function, not really a formula, it's a function. And what I've put as a placeholder is insert spreadsheet key here. Now this, because I created this before knowing what the key was, that's why I created this little placeholder. So now all I need to do is go back to my roster, and notice I can find my science department. This is the spreadsheet key, all the way up to this letter C right here. Okay, I can just copy that. Now I can go back to the Budget Planner Master, and I'm going to replace what's in between quotes here for science. I'm just going to delete that, insert the actual spreadsheet key, and hit enter. And notice how it has pulled over the data, not the formatting, but it's pulled over all of the important data regarding this spreadsheet. And then in the summary totals, so I haven't added the science budget to the main master yet, but I can easily do that by typing in equals science exclamation point E1. Notice how it's now pulling from the E1 cell of the science sheet right here. So E1, this is science. This is the name of the department. So now the other number that this is asking for is the department total. Well, that's easy to find. Because all the templates are the same, they're going to be located in the same spots. So the department total, oh, and I'm noticing now that the range is not, I need to change the range of my import function here. I'm sorry. I need to go to G50 because my grand total isn't displaying. Here we go. So this is my grand total. So G3 is the grand total for the science department. So for the summary totals sheet, I'm going to have to pull that over here, and I can just say again equals science, and this will be exclamation point G3, enter, $188. So this, and that's rounded. Again, I would have to modify the currency, the way it's formatted to show the entire, the exact cost. So let's just go up to format. Instead of choosing just number, we're going to make it a currency with cents. So there we go. So I know this was a little clumsy going through it in the explanation, but I think it also helps you recognize some of the things to troubleshoot when you're doing this yourself. And if I went through and added content now to the English one, so let's see, or this is that's the template, that's the master. So this is the science one. So if I went into, let's go to the English one, and let's add an item. So we'll say some technology, and we're getting iPad stylus for every student. So we'll call it iPad stylus, and we need 20 of them at $5 a piece. So notice it's made my calculation. But now again, if I go back and grab that key for the English department, which is right up here, everything from the 0 to the E, Command C. I'm going to paste that into the budget planner master, which is right here. So notice it's saying insert the spreadsheet key here. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And it's loading. And this one I had already created a little bit of the formatting for it, so that's why that's there. And of course I should have modified where it says your department, but I can easily go ahead and do that. So this should actually say English. And there's always a little bit of lag time before it catches up, but it's not terrible. It doesn't, it's just a matter of a few seconds, really. Sometimes I try to reload the page, but you can see it already came over as well. So you can see this, and we'll just, for kicks, maybe add one more in the math department to give you a sense of what this really looks like in the grand scheme of things. So we'll go to the math budget for math by Richard Johnson. And again, he would be doing this in his own account. I could go into his account, and the one thing I didn't show you before was that when I shared that that planning document via Doctopus, it actually sent an email to my subject coordinator with a link to the actual document. So I've merely been editing it as the person administering the budget, but actually from the standpoint of the planner, from the subject coordinator, this is what they would be editing it within this context. So I'm going to go back to being logged in as me. Now, of course, the first thing I should do is change this to math. Okay. And then I can say we're buying graphing, we'll say, technology is the category. And there's graphing calculators maybe. And just a few spares. So maybe they're at 5 and they're maybe, let's say they're $150 a piece. And they'll say these are just spares. All right. And this is the math budget. So now if I go back over to the budget planner master, all of this is going to be pulled over once I insert that spreadsheet key. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the math spreadsheet key. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it where it says insert the spreadsheet key, and hit enter. And so here we go. So I now have very detailed budgets of where English, math, and science currently stand. I can work on the formatting on my own time to make it look better and more pleasing to the eye. but I also have the summary totals being calculated automatically, so I can see the grand scheme of things. And again, make sure that your currency is set to reflect cents as well as dollars. So this is, here we are. Good. So this is a fairly easy workflow to set up. It's a little time consuming at the beginning, but I think at the end, sort of the way it aggregates numbers as well as protects the privacy of each department is it's a nice way to work with Google Spreadsheets. So that's the tutorial for today, and I hope you've enjoyed sort of taking a normal Google Apps script for educators and kind of repurposing it to serve other constituents in the school community. So, thanks for watching. Bye.